Donovan Mitchell is a Cleveland Cavalier. What's good with everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I quickly had to get that off because my God, we have some big trade news in the NBA today. Donovan Mitchell is now a Cleveland Cavalier. Let's get right into the video. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. Let's get straight to it. So I was at work when I saw the notification on my phone about Donovan Mitchell becoming a Cleveland Cavalier. And again, I keep saying the phrase fully because it's hard for me to fully take in that that's what happened, but that's what we have, and that's why we love the NBA. Donovan Mitchell is a all-star level player, obviously. Now he has his flaws, yes. In Utah, I feel like he showed poor effort on the defensive end, but still at the end of the day, he's one of the best scorers and playmakers in the NBA. And I think when you combine that with Darius Garland, there's a lot of positivity there for the Cavs. But before we get into talking about that, let's go over the specifics of the trade. So the Cavs traded Markkanen, Sexton, Abaji, 3 unprotected first-round picks, and 2 first-round pick swaps in order to get Donovan Mitchell back from the Utah Jazz. I love this trade for the Cavs, and one of the biggest reasons why I love it so much is Kobe Altman, who's the GM for Cleveland, was able to make a trade with Danny Ainge and not get fleeced. Danny Ainge through his career has had many times where he has absolutely fleeced the opposition, and sometimes he refuses to make trades because of that. And keep in mind what the context is. The Knicks offered RJ Barrett, Obi Toppin, 3 unprotected first round picks, and more, and they still said no. So the fact that the Cavs were able to get into this window, get an all-star player, which, by the way, let's give you context. Donovan Mitchell is still a young player in this league, has not reached his ceiling. For them to get him before he goes officially into his prime at a young age, to pair him with their core, which he fits very, very well with, to me, this is a great move by the Cavs. And guys, you know me, like typically I am against like making trades for big picks, but I think the Cavs realize what their window really is. And let's talk about that. If you look at the Cavs specifically, they were going to be a good team to me regardless this season, but their ceiling was going to be capped just off the strength that in these coming years they're going to be good, so their picks are not going to be as valuable as they would think because they're actually going to be like a playoff caliber type of team. And because you're specifically in Cleveland, getting free agents is going to be difficult. So when an opportunity arises for you to get a star player like Donovan Mitchell, I think you do it. And to be honest, they didn't really give up anything of value outside of Lauri Markkanen, which, let's get to that real quick. I think losing Lauri Markkanen is a thing that they're going to have to address simply because he was a stopgap wing that provided spacing and also gave them the 3 7-footer lineup, which made things very difficult for opponents to score. However, as impactful as Lauri Markkanen was as a player for the Cavs, getting Donovan Mitchell dramatically shifts their offensive production. Because at many times during the season, with the injuries to Colin Sexton, Rubio, the shot creation was always a question, and Darius Garland had to lead that team to wins on the offensive end. And when he had to sit to rest, they had no creator that could actually get the team going, sustain the offense, and help Garland throughout the game. And I think that having Donovan Mitchell and Garland both as a backcourt pairing on the court, but also as a potential stagger, can yield very positive results to dramatically change what Cleveland's offense is. So to me, even though you're losing out on Markkanen, I think the trade-off offensively is worth it. This news is very ironic, by the way, because on the locker room, we just had a film session where we broke down Darius Garland's game. And I think that with Donovan Mitchell, we really are going to highlight how they can fit. So the next video on this channel, I will be breaking down the film thread that we made on Garland, which, by the way, it's on Twitter. Make sure to follow us and tap in at NBA Film Space. Links are in the description. Because, man, like, I think there can be a serious offensive potency to what these two can do on the court together. Okay, so far I've talked about how I feel about it from the Cavs perspective. I want to quickly touch on the Jazz perspective before we get back to Cleveland. For the Jazz, I love this. And I love this because they have finally made a decision as an organization to come together and end the Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert era. And again, I did like that team a lot. I did think it had a clear ceiling. They did not have positive defenders on that roster. But for them to finally say, you know what, we're tired of like not really reaching our true potential. Understand that they were capped out due to the contract that Gobert was signed to and Donovan, and just not having a great roster. They were able to replace the both of them in one offseason with a bevy of first round unprotected picks. And for me, this puts them firmly in the Wembanyama race, but also sets them up to naturally build through the draft, which Utah's going to have to do, obviously, because they cannot attract free agents. Now, obviously, are they losing their competitive edge right now? For sure. They're not going to be a good team at all. But to me, the way that they went about this by making these moves and making these trades, you have to respect that. So shout out to Utah on that front. Now for Cleveland, what does this do for them right now? I had Cleveland as a 5 seed before this trade. I thought that they were inside of that range. I think this can move them up potentially to a 4, maybe even 3. I can't lean 3 because I think there's 3 teams I can definitively say are better than them in the regular season. But what I love about Cleveland is they are doing the inverse of what everybody else is doing. They have 2 guards who can create and kill you in multiple different ways, off the dribble, catch and shoot, and can get into the rim. But then they also have bigs who are to make up for their defensive problems at times on the interior. And I love that duality, especially because they have versatile bigs who can operate in the pick and roll, set off ball screens, and are underrated passers for their position. So to me, there's a lot of versatility to this team. The number one thing they're going to have to address if they want to win a championship in the next coming years is who that last guy is on the wing. Now, some people will tell you it's Isaac Okoro. Some people will say LeVert. In my opinion, it's neither. And I like both of those players, but ironically, they have issues on the opposite ends of the spectrum. Isaac Okoro specifically, when it comes down to him, is a very phenomenal, well, I'm gassing it, very good POA defender, but he cannot really shoot that well. And he has some of the like best looks from 3, but teams just were not defending him that well, so he didn't have that respect from the defense. And then when you look at LeVert, he's injury prone, he can space, he can create, but his defense wasn't always quite there. So in reality, they want a wing that can do some of the hybrid things that Mobley and Allen can do at the 5 spot as far as rim pressure, but also provide some of the spacing and maybe occasional on-ball creation ability that the guards display. They're looking to find some type of rhythm and balance to that. And that's the question. Are they going to be able to actually accomplish that? We don't know, right? But I'm very excited for the potential of what Cleveland can be in the coming years. And specifically, they clearly got better. Again, when you're adding a 25, 26-year-old that is on the verge of entering his prime on this type of team, I love it because the shot making and the dribble ability from Garland and Mitchell together is a very dynamic punch that absolutely translates to playoff basketball, especially when you look at it from the lens that Darius Garland is a sensational playmaker, and Donovan Mitchell, to all his credit, has been forced to basically be the primary decision maker on the ball. But now that you have Garland in there, that takes the pressure off of Donovan Mitchell so he can be a lot more effective and efficient at what he does well, which in my opinion has always been primarily scoring the ball. I trust Garland more as their primary point guard / decision maker. And now that you have Donovan Mitchell in that type of role, he can also, handle the ball and do that in reps when Garland isn't on the court. And I just think that making him your secondary playmaker changes the ceiling of what Donovan Mitchell is and makes him better, in my opinion. So I love this trade, bro. I could keep talking about this trade for hours, but I do have some things that I do have to go attend to. But appreciate everyone that came through to watch this far into the video. Again, it means a lot. We're on the grind, so I do appreciate that. But I'm gonna head out. Couple things before I leave, though. This does not make Cleveland a championship-winning team this season, but it does set their future on the right path and the right track. Because again, they have 4-star players that they're growing around. They have a clear core of players. Now it's about adding to that nucleus and making the overall roster around those guys better. So again, love this move for the Cavs. I do believe that they have won the trade. But if you disagree, let me know in the comments. Let me know how you feel about this trade. Is Donovan Mitchell overrated, underrated? Is Darius Garland overrated, underrated? Let me know. But I'll catch you guys in the next video, which should be a film breakdown of Darius Garland, which again, tap into the locker room. We spent 30 clips breaking down his game. We'll do the same thing for Mitchell. That'll come at a later date. But immediately on the channel, I need to look at how they're going to fit. So appreciate y'all. We're out of here. Have a good one, people.